Dumelang re amogela mo go Daily Thetha on SABC 1. Nakalibitso ke nna Nicolette wa ga Mashile ngwana wa kwa Bushbuckridge Mapulaneng. Ki June so ke kgwedi ya baso. So we are celebrating the youth of South Africa and we're saying, you know what, as the leaders of tomorrow, keep doing what you are doing and doing it very well. But le mo ga Delta re lebela taba ya free education. It's been 6 months since it's been implemented. Has the administration glitches and the fact that the loan but converted to the grant, has that actually worked ever since it was announced? We know that former Minister of Finance Malusi Gigaba announced that 57 billion rand 57 billion rand has been allocated to free education. But please join our conversation and tell us if one of those people who is looking for this free education or access information, please call us on 011-339-1315 or contact on any of our social media pages. Just remember to use the hashtag #DailyThetha. Kini, I don't know if perhaps you think that the 350,000 rand is enough. Should they increase to 500,000?
I think that's what we're going to be talking about namhlanje with Intsha since kuyinyanga yabo abantu abasha. To find out that 6 months later ukhona nomahluko ababonayo. Okuyena otolika olimi lezandla usiswethu sisifortune wakaMadlala elamigama Kini Shandu asimukele bonke umuntu osestudio. Welcome to Daily Thetha. I'm going to start on my side to Lorenza next to me. Ngifuna ukwazi kuwena ukuthi 6 months later abantu abaningi babecabanga ukuthi izosiza kakhulu le free education. But ucabanga ukuthi ngokubona kwakho kubenefita wonke umuntu or abambalwa abazokubenefita kule free education esikhuluma ngayo?
Well, as a student that goes to a private institution, I believe that it's not helping everyone because we as private institution learners do not receive any amount of this 57 billion rand that they claim to have given out to tertiary institute learners. And it's hard because, you know, we pay so much money and we see students who are in public universities who are busy using this privilege that they have been given and not using it right.
Okay. When you're talking about a private institution, omunye would think it's just a choice. Kuze kanjani uzithola suki private institution and yet again we are complaining ama prices akhona?
I ended up in a private institution because my marks were not able to get me to study the course that I wanted to do in a public university. And other institutions were just too expensive, so I had to end up going to the institution I'm in now. And it wasn't by choice because I could have gone to a better institution, but I just couldn't afford the other institutions. And
njengamanje ukhala ngama financials wakhona ukuthi imali enkulu, how much is imali oyikhokhayo ngonyaka and ukhokhelwa bani?
My mother pays for me, single mother who's a domestic worker who earns probably less than 3,500 a month, has to pay 40 to 46,000 rand a year. And we still have other siblings in the house that still have to be supported. And yet we have to find a means to be able to fork out this money and still go to school. And then we still go to these schools and the facilities they have are still not up to standard. So
and we are very sorry about this story. Let's go to your side, Nicolette. About this free education school mangayo.
Arwell says Namkosi when I mean usays and I've already mentioned 57 billion rand allocated to this free education. When you're one of those people I'm rejecting for NSFAS, how does that make you feel knowing government but people like you who are living with their grandmother still being rejected?
Yeah, to me it felt unfair because nami ngiyathanda ukuthola le opportunity yokuthi nami ngihambe ngifunde, achieve my dreams like everybody else. Of course I'm happy for laba abatholile ithuba lokuthi bebe iphathi yabo because some of them are fortunate enough abazali babo bayasebenza, they earning imali abangakwazi ukuthi bebakhokhele university. Mina my granny is only a pensioner and uyena oy breadwinner ekhaya, they also my aunts and uncles. So imali yakhe empesheni ayikho enough for mina to go to university and it's painful because bang rejectile NSFAS balokhu bethi it's pending ngaze ngabasendele email ngithi how I've applied and they keep on saying ukuthi it's pending and they didn't respond.
Do you think Nguweloen's mistake maybe with the application? Do you think there's certain documents you are not sending or bayachazela ukuthi why bathi baya reject?
I don't think I made a mistake because I followed my instructions.
Yeah, but,
and they don't say a thing. They just like this. Abashulutu.
All right. I mean, that's what we're sitting with, Kini. Sometimes, you know, you're just sitting there, you've got a pending status. Explain pending status, you're
And Eka as well, give us a call. It's 011-339-1315. It's about free education. Ever since the former president last year, in December, announced the progress yakoni bonthamba kanjani or saying abantu abathize as well. Next to me, I have Cindy. And Cindy is story esithekuhluka kancane because Cindy uthi yena wayithola le mali even though engenzanga ama processes ngengisho umkhoshosho kodwa wagcina uyithola ngendlela backdoor. Tell us about the story, Cindy.
It's not a backdoor. Sanibona Cindy. It's not a backdoor. It's actually depend on which institution ofunda kuyo. Is it assisting a student to get that money? Because you can't tell me things to apply and you don't assist me to get that money.
But you had to lie and use ilokuzan ama documents ka grandmother wako, not our bazali bako.
Yes, knowing very well that my my parents can afford ukuthi bangibhatalele, but I've got my younger siblings. Now the thing is, they are also paying tax. Now I can't be demanding. I need to apply using my grandmother's ID.
Don't you think, Cindy, it's unfair? There are abafundi that really need that money because you said it yourself. With abazali bako, they can afford. Don't you think you are being unfair?
I don't think so.
Okay, Lucky, what do you think of Cindy in that application, Jangamani?
Oh, Victor, I like. Makaya Cindy is different. Mina yantlava. Because mina ntsama mamena at kitchen. Ntlela na mamena in the same bed. Always. And this thing and I say go see now take mali. And even the government, the only government institutions and not private ones. So I know I say never one na private the marks are not enough to refika college, ifika university at college in kurescota exam. But when lava kuma opportunity ya mali, by the risk, ina itloga mali, but I kumi chance la kore ibana yona enough.
You know, it's a very sad situation okhuluma ngayo njengamanje Lucky, but I'm sure kunabanye abantu ekhaya as well abanesemesters fani nawe whereby uthola so share umbhede noma wakho because usuyindoda manje ngicabanga ukuthi kusakuphatha kahle ukuthi ungashare umbhede nomama wakho.
No yona enkhome kahle kuse nimfana especially a boy if antshama na papa and that twisisa so ntshama na mama each and every day and then respect amamina. And it's got to go like the night chief phone. Hello baby, you know, while my mother is next to me. Shandu is actually and kunaban lavanga kuma mali kurbanga skota kutsama somewhere. And I can say my mom doesn't earn a lot, but he's trying.
What's up, mom?
It's a domestic work. Ntsama na mama in kitchen. You know, sometimes it's hard sitting behind. Everyone didn't funda nje. Endlini nomlungu umbheka abalungu ngaphakathi badla mina ngiyafunda nje badlula nje I'm sitting outside ubona umntwana omlungu abiza uma wami ukuthi umoshile le awuzokoropa
yo Nicolette, I don't know what to say as minister ngalesi. It's a very sad situation.
But before we go to the ad break, let's take a little bit of social media. Moloi Johannes MJ Ari. There is no such a thing as free education that has been implemented. I'm currently studying at University of Free State, and students they still receive letters that they state that they owe the school. So if free education and this is what we need to be talking about Daily Thetha, because some of the guests that we do have born, they say they are beneficiaries of free education, graduate, so one of my information, and this is what we're going to be talking about. Daily Thetha. Please do stay with us after the break.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. Sakhuluma about this free education and namhlanje sifuna ukwazi and si unpack ukuthi isebenza kanjani because seems if abanye abantu abaka understand isebenza kanjani. On the couch njengamanje we do have ubusisiwe Siyebe. Welcome to Daily Thetha sis.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
As well as Chief Mabizela from Higher Education and Training. Welcome to Daily Thetha.
Thank you very much.
Cool. I started Chief because there's a comment coming in from Umloyela about the kala ukuthi yena in University of Free State akayibona ukuthi isebenza kanjani this free education. Quickly just tell us, Ispana kanjani?
Yeah, well, the students, when they are admitted at the institutions, then they get admitted through NSFAS into free education, basically. So that's the shortest version of the process.
It seems as if they don't understand, and it's too short as well, like Nicolette is saying.
Well, there are means tests that need to be done because, you know, it's not for everyone. So you've got to determine whether the person qualifies or not. So that's the purpose of the means test. In a similar way that it has always been done for NSFAS, but this time around, the range is up to 350,000 rand family income. So it's just the extension of that. The processes are not different at all from what used to be done. It's just that now there are additional people that need to be catered for. You know,
what about that comment that says a student Namanj, they're still receiving letters that say they owe schools a certain amount?
Yeah, of course, the institutions have got to do that if you are owing. But the problem is that the system has not been as efficient as we had wanted it to be.
I see.
And so, yes, there are some students who are not yet covered by NSFAS, basically, who should be covered. Yes.
Busi, as a student leader, and I mean, you're sitting with 115,000 rand in debt, the school fees. What are students not understanding? I mean, Chief Mabizela, the way I explain it, it sounds very easy.
Yes.
I mean, what are we not understanding? So what is actually happening on the ground currently?
What is happening is that people are not able to access that 57 billion, that has been given to us. People are not able to access this free education. Even if people do come in applied institutions and they do qualify, as we've heard earlier on, they still don't get a response, firstly from NSFAS itself, and secondly from the university. The only response they get from the university is that they need to pay their fees. And if you can't pay your fees, then you are locked out of certain facilities, one, in your institution, two, you're unable to graduate, as I've been unable to graduate, which for me personally is not a crisis. Graduating is not my most immediate thing, but to make sure that free, quality, decolonized education is implemented across institutions is my main priority. And unfortunately, it's not working that way. And that is why I believe, you know, the CIC of the EFF had called that people should just go into institutions of higher education.
Just jumping back into that conversation, is it as a student I understand? Because I mean, I understand you've now given us a clear picture on the ground. Where we are not understanding, are we perhaps maybe jumping and saying we deserve this free education, but we have not applied at the university, we don't really have a registration packet? What are we missing? Which part of the step are we actually missing?
So the first part of the step is that we need to qualify to get into institutions of higher learning. First and foremost. With your marks. We have to start there. We have to be honest, and we need to look at those basics. You first have to qualify to get into an institution, then you need to apply to get into that institution. Many institutions have now removed the application fee because the application fee was another barrier to access to institutions of higher learning. So many institutions like the University of Johannesburg, University of Pretoria have removed the application fee, which means if you qualify to study a specific program, you can apply for free. Then the next step is actually getting access and getting an acceptance letter from the institution. This is way before the institution knows whether you can afford to pay the fees or not. They're just looking at whether you qualify. Once you've gotten that acceptance, what is supposed to happen according to the system that Chief is describing is that you will automatically be absorbed into the NSFAS system, because when you apply at an institution of higher learning, all your documentation, the same documentation that you submit to NSFAS is the same documentation that the university has. So what we are expecting is a system where NSFAS will be able to automatically identify the students who qualify through the initial first process of application, so that we avoid a situation where people must repeatedly apply for NSFAS and not be able to get granted education. Outside of that, based on the requirements of firstly applying into institutions, they know that this is a student who's coming from Tembiso or Kwamashu, who obviously will not be able to cover the fees, and free education should be automatic.
Can I bring in the Chief on this one? Because Chief, I want to find out, you mentioned something, correct me if I'm wrong, but you said nani ngiyayibona inkinga and ngiyabona ukuthi khona lapho kungenze kahle khona.
Oh yes. Yes, absolutely. And I want to explain it taking from where Busi has left it. You know, then you enter the institution. What then we did was that the institutions were given some advances of money, so that while the system is being integrated, the NSFAS system and the institution system is being integrated so that they talk to each other. The institutions have got the money that they can give to the student, a student who qualifies, so that that student is able to be facilitated to register and study, while then the monies are then being sorted out at a later stage. So that's where we are. That's where, when I was talking about the system is not as efficient as we had wanted it to be, that's exactly what the problem is. When you talk about
institutions, are you also talking university only, or TVET colleges now? Mainly
universities. TVET colleges, you know, basically, even in the past, even before the pronouncement of free education, if you go to a TVET and you qualified for NSFAS, basically you studied for free. So at the TVET, it's not new.
Ntate Chief Mabizela, ki o abusi 115,000 rand historical debt. A khono graduate, ana certificate, a khono go batla mmereko. Re mo thusa byang?
No, I don't know if she qualified for NSFAS in the first place. Because if she qualified...
that's how I got into
that's how she got into
quality education for that specific reason. And outside of that, I'm not the only one. There's many others who haven't qualified.
But it is possible that you'll still owe, as you would know, because, you know, NSFAS was not a bursary.
It was a loan.
Exactly. And also it covered, it was a certain percentage of the loan, of the amount that you are required to pay at the university, and not the full amount. So it's possible then that you will be left with that amount that was not covered by NSFAS. Now, in the past, that's why we spoke of historic debt. In the past, there were students whose debts were cleared.
In the past, what happened?
Yes. It's because then we found that there's some money that we can use to clear that debt. That's up to, I think, 2017, basically.
Well, what I'm trying to understand, here is a child, Kibusi, only 115,000 I kolotang. Already we are starting this child off.
Yes.
At probably she has to pay black tax. She's probably the first graduate. We are starting our young people on debt. So if you're saying to me there were some people clearly historical debt.
Not some.
All of them?
Yes, those that qualified for NSFAS. Not everybody. That qualified.
I'm sorry, I beg to differ on that one. I mean, this is why you're seeing a lot of uprisings in other institutions such as NNMU, such as the Free State, at Wits University as well, at UJET. All institutions, not everyone's historical debt has been covered, and these are people that qualify. I mean, SRCs like the Wits EFF SRC has been assisting those students in trying to clear that debt through raising amounts such as 10 million to first help students to register. So the unfortunate thing is when you have historical debt, when you come back for your second year or your third year or your final year, you can't register because the university requires you to pay back that money. Because NSFAS has not responded.
There's no difference between the two. The debt was cleared up until 2017. I may be mistaken with the year, but up until. So if it then means that if you owed from 2017 academic year, because we are in 2018 now, then you will still have that debt. It was not cleared.
2017 January kappa December?
No. Those students were in the system up until, let me say, up until 2016.
Oh, okay.
And then, so you won't find who qualified though, ma'am. Who qualified?
But her loan is from NSFAS.
It's a new one.
NSFAS is 2013. So for me to not be able to graduate in 2017 and you say everyone whose debt was covered in 2016, there's an inconsistency, Chief.
No, there's
which means that, and I'm not the only one.
Okay.
Who haven't.
Maybe there's something you're not doing.
Okay. Maybe it can happen, which you're not sure about the year. Maybe.
You see, it can't be beyond 2016. Even if it was 2017, it actually then means that you'll still be owing.
Asamense breaking ngoba sokuba no tabaleti but asikutshela ukuthi kunzakalani kwi-daily Thetha nakho kuzayo.
If you deny a young person education, you are killing their life. Education is not limited to four walls. I wish I had an ID. just for me to get that man, to have that access to those things.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. Free education. Since the pronouncement earlier on last year, but also the implementation it coming this year, some people are saying, we are joined on the couch by Faisal Muema, who says, you know what, I'm grateful. You're grateful to the Free Must Fall movement, but you're saying, and this is the conversation we're going to be having, these structural issues, the likes of the curricula, it's too Eurocentric, the likes of safety, sometimes the money is just not enough to give a student that dignity. But before we come back to the couch, Facebook, Mitchell Chabalala, Yasmin, I've graduated last year, April, but I didn't get my certificate due to the corruption of higher institution. I even signed historical debt form. I was studying at TUT. Yes. Historical debt and a better clarification before Faisal. Maybe just quickly a nice clarification if, let's say, for instance, you own a historical debt from 2017 going up. But no.
Okay. Let me start with the fact that it has to be someone who was within NSFAS. So it can't be just anybody. That's number one. Then secondly, the coverage of historical debt is not standard or was not standard.
Okay.
Because it was done when money was available to do so.
Okay.
And it was done twice actually in the past, those that were in the system until 2012 and then again, as I said, until 2016. In fact, in 2016, there was even some amount that was reserved for those that would be continuing in 2016 and 2017 for those 2 years. So now, the cases of historical debt for people who were beneficiaries of NSFAS, I think, I would need to have that.
So right now, our audiences at home, a way forward if they are sitting with historical debt?
The universities. The universities have got their records, yes.
Yeah.
The universities have got their records. But if they've got disputes in terms of the amounts that were supposed to be paid and then not paid, like what the
guy is saying.
The tweet is saying, yes. Those are the cases then that need to be followed up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to quickly come to the audience here too, because we're talking, we're having a conversation, but let's not leave them behind. Bongiwe, do you think when this free education, it benefits only the selected few? What do you think about that? You mentioned that.
Yes, I do think it benefits. I do think it benefits only the selected few, because I'm a private institute, do not get access to that fee, ne? And it's not that by going to a private institute because they want to or because they have Leo Maleo, but it's because of the situation. Some I'm a course about Funayo and Gumativity colleges, and some I'm a Maxabo Awaba Alawi, So if ever they're just going to give to a selected few, then what about the rest of Abanyabantu? And sometimes if ever they're going to give to Abantaban, I'm a household tola less than 350 something. What if in a household, Nicolette 7, and then all of them bangena is school, just like me. Me and my brother, we graduated at the same time, a high school, and then we had to go to the university, C2. My mom couldn't afford that, and my brother they denied NSFAS because his marks wasn't so good, but he wanted to go to school. So what happens then?
Can I just quickly ask a question? Should we then not encourage matric they must get good marks?
No, we do, but not everyone gets good marks. What if?
But can we not encourage everyone to get good marks?
No, we can.
We can?
We can.
Okay.
Just to get a clarity on that. Faisal, let's come to you. You are born on this free education, but you're saying there are much challenges. What are those challenges?
For example, the content that we are learning at this higher institution of learning is captured by Europe. It's Eurocentric in nature. Because I'm at vets, and 90% of the information that's on the textbook is from Oxford. So I'm confused. How come the information I have is from Oxford, but I'm at vets? And then at the end of the day, we are fighting against a system of privilege, racism, and supremacy. And to defeat that system, you have to outthink that system. But how do we outthink a system that teaches us what to think? So that is the importance of a decolonized education comes there. We have to decolonize our minds so that we can defeat the system.
Ke phase wala maro structurally ko re nka re free education no itla on a structure settling sky still. We also have issues of safety ko di campusing.
Yes.
And I know that free education does not cover safety.
It doesn't cover. I mean, at this point in time, free education has not fulfilled its obligation to the people and to the young people of this country. We've been able to get access to funds that we still don't know from the chief how they're going to be dispensated, that are not equally distributed amongst young black people across the country. We have a situation where the curriculum is also a very colonial curriculum. We have a situation where students are getting abducted around the universities. They're getting raped on their campuses. Students are not getting their stipends to get meals, because what comes with the NSFAS stipend and what comes with the grant is a stipend that you're supposed to be living on for every month, but that still hasn't been accessed, which means students are also going to class hungry. They're going to class without basic necessities, hygiene. Kamo utshwere ke tlala, kamo awa patala school fees, utshwere ke stress, the residiakodimo accommodation is land becomes a crisis, and then the curriculum is also colonized. So essentially the free education that was announced by Ubabu Zuma is not essentially the one that we had demanded, that we had called for, which is essentially going to make us go back into the streets to protest again for free education if needs be, unless the system is done correctly and is administered to the young
back to the streets.
We're going to have to go back. Where else? What else do we do? Because we can't have a situation where students are not safe in their institutions of higher learning. Students are not getting adequate material to study for their courses. They're not decolonizing their minds, essentially restructuring the system. Students are not, able to access accommodation, a place to sleep. There's still people sleeping in libraries. At the moment, it's exam season, and there are students who are camping at libraries, not having food, not having hygienic products, and we're still supposed to maintain that kind of a system. It's not possible.
Come to Chief. Chief, we are moza ukuthi nintombazana, and go kwakho ukubona as well. Ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi when you look at this free education, niyakwazi yini ngempela ukubhekana nezimfuno zabafundi abazifunayo?
Well, not without any problems. You know, the situation is not as smooth as all of us, of course, would want it to be. And the picture that Busi is painting, it's correct, but it's not like majority of cases. We've got those cases, we are aware of them. But you see, what the institutions were supposed to have done, because they've always allocated NSFAS to students. So what they should have done is that meantime, as I've explained earlier on, meantime that they didn't get the monies from NSFAS, they should have cleared the students to register and also started to allocate those students funding, for instance, for food, for books and so on, and accommodation. Accommodation, again, is also a different issue, because you may qualify for NSFAS, you may qualify to have a residence, but the problem is that there are limited spaces for residences at the institutions across. So the problem of accommodation may not necessarily be exacerbated by NSFAS or free education. It's just a limited spaces that the institutions do not have. But you see, the allocation...
It seems as if to me, angazi uncorrect amaguthi ngiziphutha, uyavuma ukuthi yes, free education iplan irolile, but kuna ma structures asanhlula ukuthi no understand and no address as well.
Still being rolled out. Remember, it was announced in December. And then it needed to be implemented in January. So it's a process in terms of implementing it. At least this year, at least this year we are going to have many hiccups. Then some of the things then will then be sorted out moving on to the following year. But it's a process. It's not just going to be with the announcement in December and then everything was then working in January. No.
One of my structural issues that I'm crying about is Mngcebo Dlamini. Usathwere for free education. Why is it
No, ma'am, the systems are different, completely different, and we don't intervene in cases of law. Even the university, I suspect, would have that problem, but would have to wait probably until that process, those processes, there are many students, it's not only Mqebo. Those processes are complete, and then they can start with their own processes. So if you are already in a legal system, then you know your case can't be withdrawn.
All right, it's very interesting. We're having quite an interesting conversation during Youth Month. We are still celebrating Baswaba Mo South Africa. Do stay with us after the break.
Igama lami ngusicelo Ncamiso waMasuku ngithanda kuthole bafokazana njengase ngumnguni. Esikolweni besinalo mnye tishela. So lo tishela ngalamanye amalanga bikafika nje classini makadzini bangavuni imfundiso. Afika khulume ngempilo. Asibantu bami kunempilo la ngaphandle timiseleni ngabo bonke. Onke amalanga makathi makaqedza ukukhuluma kube nalendwe enhlitweni yami yathi kuthi ngifuna ukutimisela. Ngifuna kuphila impilo lengcono. And times were difficult. Things were difficult. Walking from here near school was getting difficult every day. And it's almost 12 to 13 kilometers. My dad was passionate about education. And I think I had times ukuthi ngimvakashele asese Clarksdorp. Ngibone ukuthi kunaletinye tintfo empilweni. And angitshela ukuthi mfana wami uma ngiqhubeka nesikole utawuqina uphilise kwalabantu laba. So lento leyo ke angibengenda ukuthi ngiqhubeke noma ngabe ngiliphi ilanga noma ngizima mara ngikhona ukuqhubeka. Afika from 5 apass flying colors. There's what we call eSwatini credit tifundo. Ngacredit tonke tifundo, my lowest mark was C. Everything else I passed and I was doing 9 subjects. And then I passed. Voila. South Africa ke manje ngifuna kuyofunda. I got a SMS from Northwest University, but Mr. Masugu, you have been invited to write an aptitude test. Ngaya, ngoyibhala aptitude test. Easy busy. Mhla 2 January 2010, we left home with my father. When we got there with my father, to our surprise, we thought it was just a meet and greet. And it's the beginning of registration. Started school. My father left me with 300 rand, 150 to rent a place off campus and buy food. And that was it. I became the university first year performer. So I beat everybody. I was excited because why? The number one has been given a laptop. And then I went to Potchefstroom, where I started doing my CTA, which is the honors in chartered accountancy. And I got my CA, got my CTA, and now the world was waiting for me. I have things that I never thought I will own because of education. Education changed my life. Education made me a better person. I really think the best thing that you can give to a young person today is education. I really think if you are in South Africa as a young person and you're not educated, it's your own fault. You have free education from high school. The only thing you need to sit down and study.
Welcome back to Thetha. Stories njengalesi sinyazi inhliziyo nenzwana nayo yonke into ongasuyicabanga ukuthi kunabantu ngaphandle aba-appreciate impilo abakuyona. But on the couch njengamanje sakhuluma ngayo education, free education eSeningizimu Afrika. We do have Aluwali Choke, a student activist lapha eSASCO UJ. Welcome to Thetha. With SASCO as well as Upalisa Setsume UJ as well naye from EFF. Sibona nangesigqoko sakho. Welcome to Thetha.
Thank you for having me.
Aluwali, let me come to you first because it seems as if free education say appreciate but nezinto ezincane that we feel ukuthi kumele zilungiswe lezo zinto lezo isikhala ngani kangaka?
I think with the acquisition of free education, the biggest problem would be the accommodation crisis because now there's a very high influx of students wanting to enroll, even those who qualify. You know, so I think our biggest problem to date would be the accommodation crisis and our universities not being able to accommodate everyone that wants to come to university.
It must be a crisis. So many muntu acabanga just a couple of people coming. Tell us the experience ebakona because we've seen abanye abafundi balala phansi kwamablock as well, abanye balala kuma libraries as well. What is a crisis? Must be a crisis ngempela les khuluma ngani?
Okay, I think to start off with the application period, actually the registration period we get people who have never previously applied, but they come to registration to try and apply. That is where the crisis begins. You get somebody coming from the Eastern Cape to Johannesburg, has no family in Johannesburg, who has good marks, but has never applied. So now they get to the institutions, we now have to accommodate them, but how are we going to accommodate you? Where are you going to study? You know, so that is where the problem then begins. Okay, some are then lucky enough when we have a late application, like the University of Johannesburg does. Okay, good. So you are then accepted with the late application, you register, you are fortunate enough to register because you also have the SRC Trust Fund for registration purposes. Okay, yeah. So now you're a student, but where are you going to stay? You have no family, you have no friends.
That's
all right.
That's sad.
Can financial exclusion go to
Yes.
Can a NSFAS student get financially excluded?
Yes.
Jan, much.
Oh, well, judging from my experience as a student activist, I've ran past students who come into the institution and they've been accepted by NSFAS, but they still have an historic debt of about 45,000, and then they're expected to pay half of that amount. Where are you going to rock up 25,000 rand in the middle of January? So it is really a crisis because they say that you are a NSFAS beneficiary, but still you are still expected to pay an historic debt, which is also a crisis.
Ntate Mabisa, ki ena taba historic debt e re tlele gape. Financial exclusion because I khona go patela historic debt, but o kene ko systeming ya NSFAS. Re bereka bjang?
That one of NSFAS being excluded, if you are in NSFAS, no, I don't believe that one. And I will take your number if you've got that problem.
Okay.
Now, you're not supposed to owe when you were covered by NSFAS, and you are not supposed to be expelled by to be excluded by the university on financial grounds.
Can I clarify you, Chief? Yeah. What I mean is, you for 2018 academic year.
Language
okay. For 2018 academic year, we had students that were accepted for NSFAS for 2018 academic year, and you'd find that students, for instance, as Aluwani Chokwe, they've been there from 2015. They were not granted NSFAS. They've been owing 2015, 2016, 2017.
Okay,
and then you get NSFAS.
Hold on. So the person who called the shelter, but I see shelter NSFAS, maybe we can financial institution.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you see, or maybe still, even if you went to a bank, you got a loan. It's still a debt.
But we clarify if you are not in the system, NSFAS, then they can't clear that historical debt. Am I wrong?
Absolutely, you're correct.
Okay.
You know, there's something we check, Sisala. If we look at the Fees Must Fall campaign, and when the introduction or the president telling us about the free education, it seems as if you guys won the battle. Do you feel like any close or half maybe won the battle of
I mean, definitely the battle was won, but not the war. And at this point in time, we're at war. And we need to be able to understand what that means and not to look at the small victories that we are able to pick up along the line and create them and make them as if they're the war that we have won, which is essentially not it. But more especially, I think what she's trying to allude to is a situation that is similar to a case of another participant who said they applied at university, they were accepted, and NSFAS has said pending. The fact that you're pending, the institution needs to know who's liable for your fees, and when they don't, you get financially excluded because no one has responded to who's going to pay your fees. NSFAS hasn't responded because they keep saying pending. The bank hasn't responded also, they're also pending. You're accumulating debt in the university, you can't account for that debt, you will be financially excluded.
But are you not being taken back by, the war? You are now in war, you've won the battle, war. Are you not then being taken back by the corruption that happens by the universities, perhaps? The corruption that happens by students sometimes. We can't deny the fact that sometimes the student didn't catch cash. Are those people then not taking the movement backwards?
I mean, there's always going to be a cost, right? And a cost analysis. We need to be able to look at what are we benefiting more and what are we losing. Well, obviously there are going to be things that we're going to lose along the way, which are those students that are going to be able to corrupt the system, which are going to be officials that are going to corrupt the system. But we can't heavily rely on focusing on them as opposed to focusing on the majority that needs the assistance and that needs the help. And essentially us winning the battle is the first 57 billion that we've gotten. That money needs to increase. We need to move from 350,000 to 500,000. We need to move to the core, because free education was for all. It wasn't for a specific few, because of the fact that you have a situation like another viewer who said, Bona, they had to use their grandmother to corrupt the system in order to get in. And that means that they've taken space up for someone who could have qualified and who doesn't have parents who could afford. So if we make it for all, regardless of your family structure, you're able to access education. As his brother said,
because of time, I need to take this call. Mpumi from Soshandu, welcome to Daily Thetha, sis.
Hi, Mr. How are you?
Mpumi.
I am good. And I give you a to go for like a studio. Put like a torana. Why NSFAS is a patalava, Badulang racing accommodation, and Badulang country. It's a patal because I mean, sometimes you can nano. It just a Shandu, the cannot UT, hike free state. Hike apply NSFAS, it's a very free state and about one motor, free state, no, cannot school, holding. So, how one hour remote database in a school, hike shy and Badulang racing. Una hana kana ko eu. You do like I know no you cannot school holding, get a free state. So it's a hala in mo cannot take but I understand it because but it was about each other say sometimes I the planet at the end of the month, Vampatale rent. But then sometimes I go as far as taking child for Dijo to pay for my rent. So can I go who understand the move what is what?
Okay.
All right.
Chief is a pendula, but I don't know what this cat said. I saw it before say break in. Chief, can you answer that quick one?
Let me try.
Okay, Chief, let's do this.
Yes.
So let's this cat is anele. Asa men say it must be it so kalanga and just kulma utabala kon. Asa men so kokale it so after this.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. Setso tshwere taba ya free education re go chiba gore na tšhelete gona na if you gona na this 57 billion rand e disperse wa byang e ne ya bo mang ke ba na go bona le matle gore ba khona go ikreya ke ba mang ba ra ba khone go ikreya. We do have a social media coming in from Smugelo Hletla Ari. There is no free education. The president did announce, but ayikho. I'm third year financial excluded students owing fees up to 125,000 rand. I've been applying for NSFAS since I arrived and they keep rejecting me. Kini, maybe Thetha Mabizela can respond to Mpumi about the issue of rana chelata rent, and then na 14 million rent na ikenne byang accounting a student.
That's something. But let's quickly go to Mpumi as well. Your comment,
okay.
Chief?
Yes, you know the student accommodation. If you are not at the res of the university, then the university accredits private accommodation. But if you are not in an accredited private accommodation, then you cannot be covered by NSFAS. So NSFAS will cover only if you are in an accredited private accommodation, if you are not at the res of the university. Now, I don't like the war talk of war and battle. You know, no. This is for all of us. This, and when we experience problems, it's all of us experiencing problems. So it's not you out there experiencing those problems. You are experiencing those problems on behalf of many, as well as no one has any joy in you experiencing those problems. So we've got to sort them out. They've got to be brought into the administration of the universities, and the universities do link up with the department and NSFAS so that we sort out these problems. We've got to learn this year as much as possible so that we don't repeat the same problems that we are experiencing this year, because this is basically the first year of the rollout of free education for those that qualify, let alone then for those that were in NSFAS.
Can I quickly come in? Because if you talk about NSFAS, we're talking about 14 million rand owangena. Maybe the spokesperson of the department can actually answer that. Why umntwana azithole seboshiwe ngephutha ngalenza? Why?
Did I have to get the difficult question?
Yes.
I just wanted to, what I wanted to really add my voice on was to say that I think this is a very, very, very important platform for us to have this type of debate on these issues. bearing in mind that this new policy has only been implemented in the past few months.
Yeah.
Teething problems, we do have teething problems, as my colleague Mr. Mabizela has alluded to, that are expected in the new system that we're just putting in. There are systematic issues, and there are issues also of exploitation. Some of the individuals who are taking advantage of some of the gaps within the system. So I just want to appeal to people like you who have the platform to create the platform for this type of debate, to say that at the same time, let's not forget that there are success stories of this system. And I think we need to provide an opportunity for the voices of those people who have success, who are part and parcel of that success stories, to voice those gratitude.
If Ningas tell you about these stories, we won't know about them. But if you guys come up with these stories, we'll make sure that we talk about it. Thetha is all about that. It's not Thetha pen.
I think give him back the mic. Remember what is the question? When that spokesperson, I want to tell the mic if teething problems. It's the first year or it's first 6 months implementation. I've got a twofold question. Did you guys rush it? And if you did rush it, and you didn't take your time to think through to have free education, but also the fight at the student could it have waited, or was government reactive to the fees must fall movement?
These are political questions you're asking.
At all.
Chief, I don't know if you want to answer.
Yes, I can try on those questions. Yes, there's an element of rush indeed.
Okay.
And remember, December is holiday. So when it was announced, it was holiday to everyone, not only to students. So we had to, even the officials had to come back after the announcement and start to work on the implementation process. But there was experience, and the experience was NSFAS. So it was not starting from scratch. That's why the universities were then given advances funding so that they can take care of those students who will come desperate, and also in terms of the means test that the universities do, then that those students who qualify, so that then the money will come in at a later stage. No, you see, the issue, yes, there is an element of being reactive. 2015 and 2016 was at the height of the fees must fall protest. And there had to be a reaction, there had to be a response to that, because the NSFAS was not covering as many students as what now free education
Chief, as you're talking about isikhathi futhi sisishayile, ngibona uTsepho lokho engakuzisikhanda lapho uthini Tsepho?
Yes, so another pressing issue that we are faced with, it's all for allocation, fund allocation. You find that you have an engineering student, a student who's studying bachelor's in education, a student who's doing actuarial science. All of them, their costs are different, their tuition is different. Yet we sign the same loan agreement form of 85,000. You find other students, that money does not suffice, it's not enough. And then they need a surplus, and where are they going to take that surplus? That's then where this thing of historical debt comes in. Because you have so called 15,000, 20,000 another year, and then you send that.
Because of his cutting, we promise you that.
Yes, it seems like only a problem, but they can be fixed. Thank you. Bye-bye.